Alright, let's review the Dawn of the Hunt expansion here. We've already seen some of the previews,
But for me, one day,
so we won't
all that were changed.
go into great detail.
The spirit, it showed me
Over the
something.
stuff we've already seen.
Something forbidden.
So I'm gonna try and jump around a little bit. So there's a new class, the Huntress, and I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. They're gonna be showing a bunch of different movesets that you can do here. Some of it does look interesting. Unfortunately, a lot of the ways that, or a lot of the moves set they show you is like from the beginning of a league when you have no gear, and so you don't really know how good it'll be at the end game. It's kind of giving you a preview right now of what it's going to look like in the end game, but I imagine it's going to be drastically different once you get geared and you get everything fine-tuned. But I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead and so you guys can see the individual skills, like one at a time. And then we'll kind of give our thoughts on what's going on with them. We kind of lower this down a little bit because I'm pretty sure it's super loud. There we go. I think at this level it's not too crazy, I think. Okay. Pardon me if I'm a little sniffly here, I'm a little sick here, but bear with me here. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump around to the beginning of it. So while I was watching the initial, I'm gonna kind of mute this so you can kind of pay attention to me more than you will the audio. As I was watching some of these skills, a lot of thoughts came to mind. I was thinking, how good are they going to be once you reach endgame? Because when you're doing the campaign, the only thing you care about is being able to, well, I guess I should preface this by saying that for the people that are trying to be efficient and get to the end game as fast as possible so they can start getting a lot of loot, is being able to clear the mobs fast and efficiently and have like high movement speed through everything, and then kill bosses quickly so they don't get stuck. And if you look a lot of the kit is what they're trying to do with it, it looks like it incentivizes you to stick around and fight a mob for a long period of time, or longer than what a lot of the builds, what we've been used to for the first few months of the open beta, let's call it. And so if you notice a bunch of these techniques or combos, right, they want you to leap into a bunch of enemies. And the problem with that right off the bat that I see is that if there's a bunch of ranged mobs around, you're not going to be fighting the melee mobs, right? You're going to want to go to the range mobs first. So you're going to be skipping over the melee guys to get to the range guys. Unless you're able to just one-shot the melee mobs, in which case you won't be doing combos at all. So I think in my mind, the only way you're using these combos is early game, and you won't be using them late game. Because if I had option number one is walk up to mobs, hold out my buckler, wait for it to parry, and then have them parry, then jump back, throw an explosion, then wait for it to explode, and then have it explode, only for it to kill a few mobs in a little area. Or I could walk up and chuck a spear and kill the whole pack, or maybe throw two spears as I'm running through, maybe one when I initially see the pack, and then one as I'm walking past it. I'm going to choose that one, right? Obviously. So a lot of these like combo based stuff, it needs to play off of each other in a more forward moving movement for it to make sense, for you to want to be able to use it. So I don't think we're going to be using a lot of these. They don't look very exciting. Like this, for example, you jump into the pack, you do a little whirlwind. If it didn't die the first time, imagine jumping into a pack, whirlwinding once, they're not dead, whirlwinding twice, they're not dead, 3, 4 times, and then whirlwinding and then sending out tornadoes. Like I'm not going to, if you think about taking 5 actions or 6, 7 actions per pack, and let's say there's 100 packs on a map, so it's going to take you a considerable amount of time to clear a map if you're playing these type of builds, right? If the alternative is I can play a build that walks up and one taps the pack and I keep moving, I'm going to do that. Like I think players in general, if I know that I'm going to be standing in front of a pack fighting it for 5 to 10 seconds, and there's a ton of other builds that are doing what I'm doing, but in a tenth of the time, it's gonna dawn on you at some point that, am I wasting my time? Like, all these other players around me are getting filthy rich because they're moving at 10 times the speed. Not even because they're better, just because I'm playing combo stuff. And so I'm a little apprehensive about the combo stuff. It really needs to feel fluid and and ramp up in, like, it's better when you get combo counter. Like, you walk up, I kill a mob, I get a combo point, and then or a pack, and then I go to another pack and I kill it. And as I'm killing these things, I'm getting the combo pieces, and then I'm able to release them on command. That makes more sense to me than go into a pack, and if they don't have enough life, I one shot the pack, meaning the combo is pointless. Or I don't do enough damage, and then I'm sitting there freaking fighting the mob or the pack for a long time. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how it's gonna work. Or at least I don't get why people are gonna be wanting to play it. I should say that's more. These look really cool. The tornadoes, the ice tornadoes look cool. The lightning tornadoes look cool. Depending on if we're able to make the tornadoes larger, that'll kind of depend on how fast we can make them. That'll kind of depend on if a lot of people are going to be using them, I think. Let's take a look at those again. I will say with everything, all of their effects look amazing. Like, the tornadoes look amazing. So you can see here that you get a lot of tornadoes getting thrown out. But if we're able to make the radius of each one of them large, so we're basically covering the entire map every time we do this, then it would make sense, right? But if the size of the tornado doesn't increase, then there's a bunch of gaps in here where their mobs aren't going to get hit. And if I'm having to cast again multiple times to kill mobs, or fully combo one guy to hit three guys behind him, I'm just not going to be doing it. And I don't think I'm alone in that line of thinking. I don't think anyone's going to be doing it if that's the case. Just give me a second here. So yeah, I'm a little apprehensive about what we're looking at so far. There was some cool ones. The spear chucking ones, of course, people are going to use that. The one that allows you to jump in and then you all the spear ones I think make a whole lot of sense. The bleed ones, I don't know, because again, you're jumping in, you're bleeding things, and unless you're doing so much damage that you can just keep moving forward, like gas arrow, you're able to do enough damage where you throw a bunch of arrows into a pack of mobs and then just keep running and they just die behind you. Okay, then you'll do that. But if I'm having to jump into a pack, fight them, apply bleeds, they're not dying, I'm running backwards further away from my objective point, which is finishing the map. Like, if I'm having if I'm having to do that every single pack, forget about it. I'm not playing it, right? Because you're just going to be so inefficient that you're never going to get currency. And the whole point of the game is to get stronger, right? To be more badass, and to be able to do all the content, right? Kill the map bosses, all the tier 15s, all the pinnacle bosses. And if I know that Joe over here is doing everything 10 times as fast, I'm not gonna play it. Well, we'll see how good the bleed builds are going to be, because they did say they're releasing 100 plus new support, well, gems in general, not just support. So we'll have to wait and see what that does. This one right here looks interesting, where the Huntress jumps in and stabs a bunch of times. I'm wondering how big we can get this area of effect, because again, if we can't get it very large, and I'm not talking about just in a circle, I mean wide, because I'm just thinking if there's a bunch of range mobs back here and I'm only fighting melee mobs, I'm not just going to sit here and tank all the damage. Doesn't make any sense. So it needs to get really wide for me to want to do this. And then again, getting this big giant explosion is contingent upon me bleeding them first before getting that. And so I'm going to want this even larger. So I need to hop in, bleed the target, then get the this big giant AoE weird grossness explosion thingy. So we'll have to wait and see how it works. Let me bring it down a little bit. Let me turn the volume up just a tiny bit. See, these ones are the ones that I'm more excited about. where you throw the
But there are
spear.
other skills that leave spears around too, like Stormlight.
This one is a little a little weird because it reminds me of just like chain lightning that you can get on the sorceress, and no one's using that right now. Um,
But leaves an electrical spear
so I don't see this being overly exciting.
enemies.
There are some support gems around it already,
Detonate them, of course.
so that's kind of cool.
Allow you to jump
The leap slam, when I was watching this initially, it just has the same design flaw in my opinion. So you're gonna walk up to mobs, you're gonna chuck a bunch of lightning spears at them or explosion fire spears or whatever. So you're like not killing the pack, not killing the pack, not killing the pack, not killing the pack, jumping, slamming the pack, and then if it's just this little radius right here, like this little 3-4 meter radius, am I gonna have to do that to every pack? So I'm pressing 5, 6, 7 buttons per pack. I'm gonna have like 10, 15 minute map runs. Can you imagine in an hour only being able to do like 4 to 5 maps in an hour? Or less? That'd be disgusting.
onto and explode
So I
enemy
just,
spears either in the ground or in your enemies.
yeah, I just don't know, man. They have to. They said that they're gonna in the Q&A. They said that they're gonna the balancing is gonna be completely different. Like whatever bills you thought were really strong, they're gonna change that entirely. That remains to be seen. If they don't change the damage scaling, so like by such a wide margin, I just don't see how you're doing these combo builds.
Now, as well as hunting
Right? If I'm able to walk up to a pack and one shot everything, I'm just never gonna combo anything.
fighting any beast, you have the ability to
That little jumping attack. Like I said, during the campaign, of course, yeah, sure, you're going to combo everything. It'll be fun. But in the end game, I just don't see you comboing things down, man. The spears, the lightning spear, the fire spear, all that stuff you're probably going to use because it'll one-tap everything like that spear, the fire spear. That for sure is going to get used, especially with a ton of area of effect, for sure. You're just going to be running through the map, chucking the spear, the whole thing dies, move to the next pack. That looks fantastic. The fire spear, maybe even that too. I imagine you're going to need a whole lot more projectile speed. That if projectile speed is going to affect the tornadoes, then I think we'll be in business. With enough area of effect and projectile speed, if we can get those tornadoes flying across the map, then we're in business.
There are 22 new skills available for the Huntress. By endgame, you'll be slinging hundreds of insanely powerful spears.
I wonder, like, they didn't tell us what stage of the game this gameplay is coming from, so we don't know if this is like mid-game speed, what they're looking to change, or how much they're looking to change the pace of the game. We don't know that yet.
And summoning the might of Solaris from the sky.
But can you imagine fighting an elite for like 7, 8, 9 seconds? That's so wild, man.
Huntress ascend into? Well, the first ascension class you could choose.
So this is the first ascension,
The Ritualist has
right? The ritualist. And so what I gathered from this one is you're going to be applying essentially a debuff on all the enemies. Think of it like Essence Drain. And as you're fighting them, I think it's these little dots here, little red dots everywhere, is they stack on them, and then when they die, they explode.
by harnessing the power of
Yeah, you see the big giant explosions? There's a lot of builds that already have little explosion mechanics to it. The Witch Hunter has a 10% one. I think the Warrior has something in the tree where they can explode for 5% of the damage as fire or something like that. Or maybe it's a point on the tree. I don't remember which one it is. The Heralds do explosions. There's Detonate Dead. So I think Bleed getting something that makes things explode is probably going to see play.
animal sacrifice and
Again, it just depends on how big we can get those explosions.
skill causes all enemies
Right? Because if I'm able, and how wide we can make those pustules spread. Because if I'm able to walk into a pack of mobs, swing, and have that arc be wide enough so I'm affecting the majority of the mobs all the way around me, let's say like it's 5 meters or 4 meters, and then I kill one and then everything explodes for another 4 meters, that could be pretty good. But if we can't get the radius that wide, I'm not doing that to every single pack. That's just silly.
around you to grow volatile blood boils on their skin. When those enemies
Yeah,
are
that's what we
slain,
just
the
took a
boils
look at right here.
burst, spreading corrupted blood to all
We're spreading
enemies.
corrupted blood, killing the mob, and explodes.
The Ritualist also excels at
This one
taking
looks
advantage of
extremely good.
magic. The
Essentially giving you an additional ring slot.
ring on a finger around your
This seems really good to me.
Mystic attunement increases the bonuses of all the rings.
I think this is going to open up a ton of different itemizations because there are so many times where you wish you can use more uniques, but you can't because you don't have enough resist. When you can get a tri-res, quad-res with the implicit, giving you like 140, 150 resistances, just slapping on a ring or two, and that'll cover like all your resistances. It just opens up so much more in terms of itemization and gems, or jewels, I should say, because a lot of people right now, they in some builds, they'll use their jewel slots as ways to get resistances. So I think I'm gonna keep an eye on this class right here, on the ritual list.
Grants you a new skill, Ritual Sacrifice.
See, this ritual sacrifice, man. Like in principle, like when you're thinking about the concept, wouldn't it be cool? You kill an elite, you get down, and you like stab it, and you take one of its mods. Wouldn't that be cool? But like, there's already there's already a mechanic in the game that does this, right? There's already Headhunter, and Headhunter's cool at the beginning of the game, and then once you get your build going, once you get Ingenuity, you no longer care about it, right? And it's very niche when you're fighting bosses. You know, if the buff dropped or you died or whatever, you go back in the map now, and the next one you'll be able to go back if you die. Then you don't have your buff anymore. You got to get a new one. Or what if you get one that doesn't really matter, doesn't do anything? So without being able to like stab a mob and then like choose a buff, like imagine this: you go into a map, you kill a monster, you steal. It has like a little window pops up. It gives you a list of whatever modifiers they had. You choose one of them, and then it like saves it to a gem or something like that. And now next time you go into a map, you're able to apply that to yourself, or maybe you just get like a spirit gem, a persistent gem. Whenever you kill an elite, it triggers and you get that buff. Because it'd be really weird. You walk over to a mob, you kill it, you get a buff that doesn't really do anything. And you're like, cool, I just wasted time kneeling and stabbing this thing for nothing, or for something that I don't care about. Imagine already being res capped, and like you get 5% more fire resist. You're like whippy, or you're now immune to fire, and like there's no fire on the map. You're like, okay, I'm already, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know how I'm gonna be too excited. There are some that might be you can get excited for, but I believe in the Q&A they were saying that they're gonna tone down the values for a lot of these mods. So you're not like like proximal or whatever. You won't. I don't know how big the bubble will be to make you like have God mode and things like that. So we'll have to test it out. But in my mind, I'm thinking it's not going to be very good. Ritual sacrifice is kind of the same thing, right? You're going to be reserving 20% of your maximum life to get a random monster modifier. You get something that just sucks, that you're just feeling bad. You just lost 20% of your life for no reason. So like if there was some way to like store it, you find a monster that has a mod that's desirable, you kill it, and then you get that cool mod and you can carry that over, that would make sense to me. Okay, cool. And then I can like go through maps, try to find that one rare monster that has that mod I like. I kill it, I get the ritual passive or whatever, I store it, and I can bring that into my other maps. That would be legit. And then scale that for players. That I could see being used. All right, so now we're looking at the second class, right? Or no, second ascension, the Amazon.
Trained as an elite guard to the most important as
Let's go ahead and move it forward a little bit.
any charges.
Ooh, I think I fast forwarded a little bit too much.
The predatory instinct skill will cause you to
All right, first one here. So supposedly you're going to be able to look at the health bar over here, and on the health bar it'll tell you what its weakness is, and you'll do 50% more damage whenever you're abusing the weakness. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work. Is it just 50% more damage like all the time as long as you have this? That'd be insane. I don't think that's the case. It's got to be like maybe 50% more damage if you're doing a certain damage type. That would make more sense. I don't imagine that's how this is going to work. But we'll see. This could may or may not be amazing. Obviously, 50% more damage is good. We'll have to kind of know more about this. I can't really tell much by the little icons up here. Does that mean it's now weakness to fire, and now when you hit fire, you're doing 50% more damage? Is it random every time? Does it change depending on what mob it is? Because then what if you get does it change? Like if you know this boss is always gonna have a cold weakness and you show up with cold damage, then like awesome. But if it's always changing and you land on a weakness that you don't have, damage type 2, then it does nothing for you, then you're like, that was useless. So I guess it's just going to be, I don't really understand how it's going to work. Okay, elemental infusion. And let's see what it says. You consume a power charge, you infuse your weapon to gain +2 cold infusion. Okay.
Any charges you consume will infuse your weapon with elemental power, causing any projectile attacks to explode on impact.
That is kind of cool. You're basically giving your weapon an area of effect whenever it hits. I think that's going to get used. Just having AoE more damage on whatever ability projectile you have, that's just all around good. Critical strike, 25% of excess chance to hit with attacks is converted to additional critical hit chance. This is going to be great if you're melee or even ranged. You want to have a higher hit chance, so getting more crit chance is just a no-brainer.
Critical strike skill.
Now it does says 25% of excess chance. What does that mean? Does it mean that I need to have over 100%? I don't even know if getting 100% chance is if you're able to get that. And I know there's map modifiers that reduce the chance to hit. So does this remove that? Like if you have, let's say, 88% chance, and then the mob has a chance to avoid like 20%, 30%, and now your a chance to hit is like 55 or something. Does this make it so it doesn't do anything? Because it's excess chance to hit? Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Is as simple as it sounds. It takes your excess accuracy and gives it to you as critical strike chance. Additionally, you have skills like
Okay, life leech recovers based on your elemental damage as well as physical damage.
Mystic Harvest, which allows your elemental damage to leech life, and as Mary
Okay, so your elemental damage leeches life. I mean, there's tons of spells out there that want... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this... Hold on. Let me go back and kind of read that again. Because this may or may not make Blood Mage worse, right? It says Life Leech recovers based on your elemental damage. It doesn't say that it gives you Life Leech. It says that if you have Life Leech, the way that I'm interpreting it is if you have Life Leech, it recovers based on your elemental damage. Because normally it's going to happen off physical damage. So if you have Life Leech on an attack and you're doing elemental damage, now you're going to be leeching life. That's how I think it reads. I don't think it reads it gives you spell leech. That would be insane. Yeah. Okay.
First up for our warriors out
This is going to be the new warrior ascendancy.
The warrior is a blacksmith in origin, taught by his father Renly. With this ascension, you can take your smithing skills to new heights by embracing power.
Okay, let me get down to this one.
Himself, Kitava. Smiths of Kitava are master black.
So this, I don't know how I feel about this, man.
And have the ability
So if you watch the animation, how long does it last? You know, so you're going to have to stop in the map. I'm imagining you're going to get into the map, and before you start mapping, you're essentially going to buff up your item, right? Because that's what it does. Like you'll watch the dude, he'll empower his weapon, and then he's going to run out.
skill. You can enhance your weapon.
Right, and then whenever he hits a target, it explodes. Okay, but like, isn't that what your herald, like a herald of fire? You overkill a target, it explodes. Then we just saw the huntress doing explosions with her ascendancy. Then we have, what was it? The ritualist makes it so they can empower. Oh no, the Amazon, they can empower their projectiles. So when they throw, they do an explosion. So this is like the melee version of theirs as well. Then there's trample toes as well. We'll figure out how much they're going to nerf that into the ground. So this is essentially just giving trample toe fire effect on your weapon, giving you an AoE. and we don't know if it's flat damage. We don't know if it's percent base damage. I'm assuming that it's going to be able to get affected by area of effect. So I imagine melee builds will use that. But then there's okay. So there's also that weapon that warriors use that has the implicit that gives it a percentage of your damage is area of effect. Does that kind of make that useless, or do they stack? I guess it would stack, but if you're already one shot in the mobs, then you wouldn't need it. So it kind of, I think, makes your itemization weaker. Manifest weapon. This is just like reanimation, right? You just make a little weapon that runs around and, yeah, I think it's based on whatever weapon you have. It just makes a copy of it, runs around and slaps things. I mean, having a minion that fights for you is always good. We'll just have to wait and see how much damage it does because it's based on your weapon. So I don't know how much use it's going to get in the campaign. Maybe in the end game when you're ridiculously decked out and your weapon's insane, then yeah, maybe it could be good. And then if you can modify it by attack speed or, cast speed, we'll have to see. If you can, what kind of gems you can apply to it. Can you make it so it like cleaves? Can you make it so that it does like explosion damage? That thing that showed us earlier where you can imbue your weapon, can you do that to your weapon first, then reanimate it so whenever it hits, it explodes? There's like a lot of question marks there. If you can use that, I imagine it'll get used. As to how good it'll be, because it's a minion, so if I have to cast it and it's slow and I'm leaving it behind the map, do I have to like recast it every time I get to a new monster pack? Well, I don't know. This one looks interesting for the campaign. You'll essentially be able to create your own body armor. Like let's say you're wearing a white base, and you can just add whatever mods to your armor. It's a little weird. Is it gonna use your passive skill points or is it gonna use your ascendancy points? Because it'd be really bad if you had to use all of your ascendancy points to make a body armor. That wouldn't make any sense. Unless the points that you could get are so ridiculous and okay. But I don't remember it showing like insane nodes. They showed like 15% increase in life. Let's see. Applies a chaos damage from hits. Armor also applies to chaos damage taken from hits. Body armor grants hits against you a 50% reduced critical damage bonus. Again, if they're not hitting you with crits, this does absolutely nothing. So, okay, if you get a map modifier that says enemies have 500, 600% more chance to crit, you can just not roll that map, right? You can just sell the map. I don't know. And then all the different, what are they called? The little items you can get when they're in your inventory, you use them. The omens, yeah, the omens. You can make it so they just roll prefixes, right? Like if you just don't want to fight enemies that have increased chance to hit, you could just avoid it. Increased stun threshold. There's tons of things on the passive tree that give you that. So yeah, they better make it so you use passive points because I don't know how you're going to be using that. 5% life per second regen is it's okay. I mean, if I'm able to stack a crap ton of life, if I'm able to get like 10, 15% of my life back per second, I think that we may see builds like that. But again, you only ever need as much defense as you need. You never need an excess of it. Because it's all about, in this game so far as we've experienced it, it's like if you're able to one-shot the entire screen and you have no defenses, the no defenses doesn't matter because everything on the screen is dead. You don't need defenses when you're not fighting anything, when they're all dead. So we'll have to wait and see how much they nerf everything into the ground for me to want to invest points into more defenses. There's so many choices. And like again, if your armors and stuff are capped, like this is, I imagine this will see play in the campaign because you could just get an insane body armor like right off the rip. That makes sense, but I'm not that excited for that for endgame.
You can now play as the Tactician.
I'm interested in the
Is a
tactician.
former Blackguard elite. Free from the duties of a Blackguard, he is able to use his training to decimate the monsters of Rayclast and earn a healthy income doing so. This training comes
This class always seemed good, man. Projectile damage builds pin. Projectile damage builds. What do they mean by builds?
various skills like suppressing fire, which causes all projectiles to pin enemies. When
Is it just your projectiles have pinning? So it's like the boots, the lizard scale boots, like all of your attacks have pinning? Pinned enemies cannot perform actions? Okay, that's kind of nuts. Right? Because there's already a gem that says your attacks are pinning. There's some that have buildup on it. You can get buildup on the tree. And now if you take this ascendancy, whenever an enemy is pinned, they just don't do anything. They just stand there. Because pinning before, they can't move. But they can still take actions. This makes it so they're effectively stunned. So you don't have to like attack a monster and get it stun. Its stun meter passes threshold to heavy stun or even stun. You can just pin and have them do nothing. It's like this could be good as a defensive layer. Now, pinned enemies, can you get pinning on anything? Can I get it on elemental damage, or does it have to be physical?
combined with the right where we want them notable, your pin not only stops your enemies from moving, but stops them from
This might
performing
see play as a
actions
defensive layer.
similar to freeze. With a soldier's training, the Tactician also works well cooperatively.
I don't remember seeing a lot of players using banners.
Multiple banners at once. The watch how we do it skill gives a
Maybe in party play, or maybe they're buffing banners. I don't remember like banners being a wild, crazy thing. Allies in your presence gain added attack damage equal to 25% of your main hand's weapon damage. Huh. So this is just like as extra, the way I'm reading it. So as long as your main hand weapon has a lot of damage, you're giving 25% of that to your... You know what I'm wondering here, actually? Allies in your presence gain added attack damage equal 25% of your main hand weapon. Can you run minions with that? If you have like a minion build, just put like a thick damaging weapon. I think minions would probably prefer having the scepters, right? +5. I mean, unless you can have like a crossbow in one hand. I don't know.
your allies as well. But if that isn't enough, you can also command your army of off-screen archers to unleash hell and carpet an entire area with arrows.
Off-screen arrows. I mean, you've got to make it be really good. There's already, what is it, the rain of arrows or something? There's a fire spell that no one's using that does exactly this. So you need to make it do so much damage that you can at least clear all of the white mobs. Otherwise, you're not using it.
Finally, witch players will be able to join their legions by
Even if the new witch class, the Lich, sucks, everyone will be playing it because we all love
becoming undead
summoners.
themselves. In Dawn of the Hunt, introducing the Lich Ascension class. The Lich is a master of chaos and curses and could sacrifice her life to enhance her energy shield. The Crystalline Phylactery skill allows you to nominate a jewel in which to contain part of your soul.
This is interesting, man. If you find an insanely good jewel, you slap it on there and it just multiplies its values. It's like a choose your own adventure type of ascendancy point.
Massively increasing its power.
Yeah.
There's just
Yeah, it
one
seems
downside
good.
to splitting your soul this way, though. If you have no energy shield, your mana costs will shoot up. The necromantic
Yeah, it's gonna suck when you first start off with it. Honestly, like at the beginning of a league. But then, as you find like good jewels, obviously it'll get better. Necromantic Conduit. You and your allies in your presence have unholy might, while you are not low on mana. And you just lose 5% of your mana per second.
conduit skill causes you and allies in your presence to have unholy might, granting extra damage as chaos damage. Rupture
I mean, okay. I don't know how good it'll be. I'm not that excited over it.
of the Soul makes enemies you curse explode with chaos damage when slain.
Hold on. Cursed enemies killed by you or your allies and your third button to explode, dealing a quarter of their. Wait a minute. Am I reading this right? Cursed enemies killed by you or allies have a 33% chance to explode, dealing a quarter. Okay, it's a quarter of their life, which is a lot. It's better than Detonate Dead. However, you can modify Detonate Dead to have crit, to crit multi. You can have it increase damage. I don't think you can modify that. And the fact that it's only 33% chance and not 100% chance means it's probably not going to see play. Yeah, it needs to be 100% of the time, or like half the time, because there's already a curse out there that says if an enemy walks out of the curse or it expires, it explodes, it does a massive amount of damage, and that already like gets the job done. So if I'm cursing anything, I'm gonna curse it with that and have that big giant explosion. And if that's not killing the trash mobs, then I don't know why I would want this. I don't know that this is. I'm not excited about this one.
Dominion
I don't
over
believe in
Flesh
it.
allows you to apply an additional
Curse. The fact that you can apply the curse on a hex-proof enemy is good. You already have the +1 on the ring, +1 on the tree. You can already have 3 curses. I mean, this is going to be great for a curse bot, I guess. I don't know if there's going to be like, we'll have to wait and see what kind of new gems and support gems are going to come out. If there's new curses, if there's no interactions with curses, maybe we could do something cool with this. Having more curses applied to enemies can be good. We'll have to wait and see.
It's safe to say you'll be the true master of the occult by choosing the Lich class. So Dawn of the Hunt has the Huntress and 5 new Ascension classes, but it doesn't end there. Let's take a look at the monster. You could summon an army of weaker monsters. Crafting panel.
Yeah, bind
Spectre
Spectre.
skill. It's finally complete, and it will be made available in the upcoming expansion. It can be found in the occult skills on the skill gem crafting panel. Raise.
See, this makes it. It's kind of annoying because they showed the ritualist walking over, stabbing a mob, and getting a random modifier. Why can't you kill the minion, the mob, and then choose a modifier and then keep it on, have it soulbound on your gem, just like you do with the mob? You kill the mob, the little name comes up here, and you can spend however much spirit and have it allocate to your gem. That just seems like how it should work on the other way, and just have whatever mob or modifier that you want. I don't know.
Spectre is a skill that allows you to trap the soul of almost any monster in the game.
This is going to take a lot of testing. Obviously, they're going to modify the values for player when it's under the creatures under player control. This is going to be interesting, I think. A lot of testing. What creatures do we want
Which
to
you can then
use?
summon in the skill panel.
How are they affected by support gems? That'll be interesting. Spectre Lost Men Zealot. Okay, and so the name on there will change on there as well.
Spectres cost spirit and will revive automatically if they die.
Haha, they're using Bone Spear.
But the spirit cost varies based on the power of the monster. You could summon an army of weaker monsters, or a few of the more powerful monsters. You can combine them with your existing skeleton minions, or summon exclusively specters. It's all up to you and how you want to customize your army of the undead.
This is kind of interesting. How is it going to make the other minions? Because if the monsters on the screen or in the maps are better than what you can get on gems, and does that just kill every other minion in the game? I hope not. We'll have to find out. All right, let's continue here. What else we got here?
Given that there are hundreds upon hundreds of monster variants in Path of Exile 2, it's safe to say you'll be experimenting with this one for a while. We look forward to seeing which monsters serve you best.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they can interact with each other.
Now let's move on to our next skill.
The Roa.
Since we've been talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding the Summon Roa skill. Summon your
So this may or may not be insane.
friendly Roa to aid you in combat as a minion. You can also mount your Roa in combat at any time.
So if you're at the point in the game, let's say you're in game, and you're already one-shotting everything on the screen, this is going to be a no-brainer. This will make your runs even faster, right?
Allowing you to move at full speed, even while shooting arrows or throwing spears. Be wary though, if you take too much damage while riding your mount, you can be knocked off and get overwhelmed. It's worth
Yeah, if you're doing this, where you're attacking the pack over and over and over and it's not dying, then you probably don't want to be on a Roa because of what's going to happen
keeping
right
an
now.
eye on your stagger bar, as falling off the mount
And
can
you're
be
dead.
almost certain death.
Yeah.
On the
Stun
topic
lock.
of new ways to enhance your character, let's talk about support gems. Support gems are used to modify your skill gems in meaningful and interesting ways. Currently, we feel that a lot of builds have insufficient options here.
Yeah, you think?
To alleviate this, we're adding over 100 new support gems. Hema crystals
Over 100 support gems. All right, let's look at this one. Support attacks you use yourself, which can cause damaging hits. Supported skills consume bleeding on hit to create explosive blood-filled crystals. So you use something to inflict bleed, and then this support gem makes them explode. So this support gem means that you have to have one skill to apply bleed and one to pop it essentially. Yeah.
will enable a new kind of bleed build, turning the damage over time you would have done into explosive vial crystals.
What do you mean turning the bleeding? Okay, because it consumes the bleed, and you can't stack bleed currently unless you're able to stack them. Oh, okay. This is kind of a way to stack, kind of. So you can hit the enemies, cause little crystals by using an attack that has the support gem on it. It'll create the crystals, and you can reapply bleeding to all the enemies. But again, it's like, if I'm having to apply bleed to all the enemies, then create the crystals, then pop the crystals, then create more bleeds, then more crystals. I mean, I just don't see myself doing that to every pack. If I have to do this more than once per pack, I'm just not going to do it.
Alignment is a support gem for bow attacks, which can reward skilled players with good positional skills. Caltrop
What? He was standing still the entire time. What do you mean going to reward players with positional? Wait, what? Did I miss something there?
alignment
Supports bow attacks. Support skill to indicate one of 4 directions. Changing indicated directions when an attack with supported skill matches the direction. Huh? What?
is a support gem
Oh, okay. There's a little indicator right here.
for bow attacks.
So you have to. So this is gonna decide in what direction. It's gonna decide in what direction you're gonna be casting your spells at. Do you see that little arrow, little white arrow showing up under your feet? And this one is more prominent than the one on the left, so you have to attack in that direction.
Positional skills. Caltrop
It better be smart. Like, it better always choose where there's the nearest threat. Because if it's like you can get more damage to behind you and there's no enemies behind you, you're not using it, right? Ever. I don't understand. That's wild to me. Okay, caltraps.
drops will allow you to litter the battlefield
Projectiles from supported skills trigger caltraps when they reach the end of their flight.
with hazards, slowing your foes
Okay,
as
so
you
you
fling
throw
spears
them
through
out
their
there and you can
ranks.
trigger them.
But there's plenty more for
that'll
every
get play,
playstyle,
I
such
think.
as enormity.
All right, what are we doing here? Support skill with summon persistent minions. They're larger and have more life. They deal more damage, but they cost a ton more spirit. Okay, so you make your dudes bigger. I mean, it's a whole math thing, right? If the spirit cost justifies the increased damage, then you'll use it because you're really not using minions for meat shields. It's all about the damage. So if it's a 20% more multiplier on all your minions at the cost of making them cost more spirit. So if just using more spirit to make more minions is more than 20% more damage on the minions that I'm making as a result, then I'm not going to use this gem.
Unsteady
It just depends on what minions I'm using it on. I don't know. Maybe it might use some. It might see some play.
tempo.
First attack in the sequence of supported skill inflicts hobble on you equal to 40% of your life. What's hobble? Second attack in sequence with supported skill has 30% more chance to crit. Third attack. I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of the whole comboing stuff. Although this looks really good.
Profanity.
Profanity does what? Supported skill consumes a corpse within 5 meters on use. If possible, supported skill does 30% more chaos damage if consuming a corpse. Okay, this could be good. This could be really good. You already have minion pack that gives you what, 40% more damage multiplier if you sacrifice a portion of your life equal to your current life, I think, or your maximum life. And this is saying that if you consume a corp, you get just another 30% more multiplier. No, it's saying 30% more chaos damage. So it's not giving you chaos damage. It's if you are doing chaos damage, it gives you 30% more of it. Okay. So this is like a for dots and for chaos blast? I don't think you use corpses in chaos blast. So I guess you'll use it while clearing maps, but I don't know how you take advantage of it during boss fights. I can't think of a current build that uses minions that also does chaos blast. Maybe dropping the totems? I don't know.
Retaliate.
What is this doing? Support skills deal up to 40% more attack damage, scaling up as your stun bar increases. Okay, just a more multiplier for builds that use stun bar. Okay. Wait, as your stun bar increases, so what? The closer your... Oh, yeah, yeah. So I have to sit there and take damage, and the closer I am to being stunned and not being able to play the game, I do more damage? I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Yep, that's a real word.
Support slam skills you use yourself. Hits from the skills are considered crushing blows, which are both ignited and fully armor broken. Interesting. Okay, so we already have builds that rely on fully broken armor. So this might see play. Yeah, this might see play. You can build things around this. What else we got?
And many more.
That's all you're going to show us is tease us, huh?
New
Okay.
ascendancy classes, new skills, and new skills,
Okay,
and new support.
let's
A
talk
focus
more
on
show.
mid and in-game. The coming calamity.
Oh, not so fast. Show me that shield again.
The focus on mid and in-game
Alright,
tiers
fine,
to
I'll
make
listen
sure
to
there
you.
are more exciting items to find for higher level characters. Let's look at some examples.
Okay, let's see the shield here. Gain 1% of damage as fire per 1% chance to block. You get 26. You're going to vol it. You land 24% chance more or 25% chance more to block. You've got over 50. Getting 50% fire damage is really good because you're using that stupid that breach hand one, and that does 60. So if you're able to get it up to 50, this will see play for sure. And then just giving you a block chance, yeah, this will see play. Okay.
Embrace your inner devil with Chernobog's Pillar.
What else we got?
It grants you a large amount of fire damage based on your block chance. The coming
This one. Enemies in your presence have no elemental res. Okay. I feel like this is only good if you're using like a tri-res monk. Like if you're using all the different elements. As if not, meh. I'm pretty sure endgame you're already one-tapping everything. Okay, maybe you have this as an off a second weapon set. When you get maps that say enemies have elemental resistances, like 70 or 80, something crazy, maybe you throw this on. You get 3 heralds. Cool. But I don't see crazy damage. Oh, this is a body armor, dude. Why did I think it was a... I thought it was a staff. Okay, hold on. So you get life, res, armor, evasion rating are kind of low, though. Not kind of, like really low. But this is essentially granting you what? 30, 60, 90 spirit? I don't know.
Coming Calamity allows you to become a true master of the elements, granting you all 3 elemental herald skills without costing any spirit. At the same time, it penalizes enemy resistances.
Maybe?
Wastegate is a belt useful for builds using a single resource like blood magic or
Yeah. Life and mana flask can be equipped in either slot.
archmage builds. With this belt, you can use 2 life flasks or 2 mana flasks.
Okay. However, it's going to compete with ingenuity. Unless they nerf that into the ground, it's still going to give you way more by using ingenuity. You can already get life recovery flask from regular belts with better implicits that also increase your flasks. I don't know if this is going to be any good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think this is going to see.
Now, we could go through these all day, but we'll leave most of them for you to discover. Suffice to say, though, we want there to be way more cool things to find.
I will say these new outfits are insanely cool.
Over time, our goal is to add a unique to every single base item type at a minimum, so that you can chance any base in the game. Now,
Good.
given that we have the Huntress, we have a set of unique spears from early game all the way through to end game.
So these are all spears just for Huntress, or for just spear builds, I guess, for all the gems. Cannot use projectile attacks. Okay, so you're stuck attacking things in melee. And it doesn't have great damage.
As well. One example is Scyther's
But you
Spear,
get aggravated
which combines
bleeding?
bleed and fire in a powerful way.
I don't know.
It allows your ignites to be aggravated, dealing substantially more damage.
Oh, with this weapon, okay. I was thinking weapon swaps. Get bleed on the target, swap, get the aggravated bleeding, and have them take double damage. But I don't think it works that
We're
way.
also introducing a suite of unique bucklers with
Infinite projectile parry range. I guess if you're going to use a buckler and you're trying to use parry, then you would use this. Because my thing was, why would I parry like the melee dudes in front of me when there's range guys hitting me? But if I'm going to have an infinite parry range... Wait, does this also mean that the follow-up spell gets it? No, it's just parry, right?
some interesting parry mechanics.
It doesn't give you
Gyra's
like...
arc, for example, allows you to parry projectiles
Yeah.
from any distance.
Yeah, that's
And
what
we're
I was
also
thinking.
adding our
as well.
first unique charms.
Okay, use when you become ignited. But how often do you become ignited, man? They did say in the Q&A they're going to increase the... or they're going to reduce the amount of your ailment threshold. So you will be getting ignited, chilled, and shocked more often. 23% chance to gain a charge when you kill an enemy. Okay, ignite enemies in presence as though dealing fire damage equal to 25% of your maximum life. Okay, hold on. The thing is you have to become ignited. Is there a way to self-ignite? So you self-ignite, and then they're taking 25%. I'm just thinking like... But you don't have that many charges, man. It consumes 60 of 80. You get one charge for 3 seconds, and then you're out. Okay, so you're not doing self-inflicted Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't excite me.
Bayra's Anguish will not only protect you from Ignite, but will also emit a devastating Fire Nova whenever you do get Ignite.
Yeah, but if the mobs are already
sum,
dead, like, why do you care about
There's just a ton of new
3 or 4
uniques to
second
find.
little fire?
We can't
Just-
wait to see the weird and broken builds
And
that
this
come
is
out
like
of
the
it.
unique?
Now we also want to talk about crafting options. In each major update during early access, we'll be continuing to add and improve the
I don't
options
see
here.
people playing it.
We have various new crafting tools that have been added as rewards to many of the different types of new content that we're adding. But for now, I just want to mention the changes to runes. Runes add common
Oh my goodness! Thank you, the Lord. I think they're gonna add
available mods.
different tiers of runes. Yeah, we're complaining about this forever. Once you get to endgame, you're never using your flat damage runes on weapons.
But since they only have one tier, flat
Yeah.
damage mods tend to get outclassed by in-game. So we've changed runes to have multiple tiers, allowing you to get higher tier mods than before. Our plan is to
Yeah, that makes
significantly expand the number of more specialized mods for crafting using socketables as we add new content over time. And the first new set of those comes from what we're talking about next.
Let's
or maybe
talking.
prepare us for the coming darkness. Or maybe prepare
This is
and as
a new
Mary-
mechanic, right?
Each spirit is associated
Yeah.
with a specific revered animal within
So now in maps, you're gonna get these little wispy things, and the wispy things do stuff on the map. Like you follow them, they can enchant mobs, and it gives you more stuff to fight.
as Mary culture. This one is a wisp of the Great Bear and grants enemies extra life and stun. The wisp moves faster the closer you are, and as you move away, they slow down to wait for you.
Right.
But
So it's
if you get
basically
too
going
far
to
away
be.
for too long,
Do you
they'll
remember
dissipate.
in Trial of Chaos, where you have to follow that little, what is it, a totem or little building, it like levitates off the ground and kind of just moves. And you got to follow it. It's like that, but on a map. Did anyone enjoy doing that in the Trial of Chaos? Was anyone like, dude, I love this? It's like protect the payload, right? Except if you can't kill the mobs fast enough and the wisp keeps moving, then you lose that mechanic. I don't know. Maybe I gotta play it. I don't know.
And return to the woods.
I don't know.
As you continue to chase the wisp, it will find and possess a rare or unique monster, granting it a new powerful ability. Because this was a wisp of the Great Bear, this monster now also has increased life and stun.
Yeah.
But on top of that,
I
it
mean,
will
I do like
periodically
this when they
summon
make
a
the
large
map
spectral
harder.
bear that slams with wild fury.
But it's gonna slow you down.
If you're able to defeat
I'm wondering how fast that wisp is gonna be moving, right? Because once you reach endgame, you're walking up to a pack. You're one tapping the pack. You find a wisp, and now the wisp is moving like at 1 centimeter per second, and you're just sitting there like screaming, "Oh my god, dude! I'm not gonna sit here for 30 seconds to kill one mob." So if it moves quickly, then okay, and like it only slows down if you're in combat, then that would make sense. But it better not move that slowly
this
the
foe,
entire
you will be
time.
rewarded. For each monster that was infused and killed along the way, the rewards will be increased. Each wisp has its own mechanics. The Wisp of the Winter Owl is a primal wisp that causes enemies to deal extra cold damage, gain energy shield, and release wind vortices on death.
Extra cold. You mean maps? You were already rolling map modifiers that have monsters do 50% more cold damage, and it didn't matter at all. I don't know. Maybe if you're rolling maps with tons of monsters have more damaging modifiers, and this on top of that makes it so it's a little much. And if you're not able to kill the monsters like instantly, then it becomes a problem. That's the only way I can,
When infusing a
see
monster,
it,
it will call down large
like
tornadoes
mattering
to
at all.
protect their host.
Outside of it buffing
The Wisp
the
of
mobs
the
to give
Wild
me more
Cat
loot.
is a vivid wisp that causes affected monsters to deal more critical strikes and become more evasive. When it infuses a monster, it will summon a barrage of feline spirits that will attempt to tear you limb from limb.
That's kind of cool.
If you're
I think increased stun threshold is going to become more of a meta this next patch. Because if they're going to lower your elemental threshold, they're probably going to lower your stun threshold as well. And so I think that's going to be a more desired stat. Same thing on jewels. I bet you normally right now, if you get like increased ailment threshold on a jewel, you're like, whatever, I just want more damage on it. But I think if these little wispy things are going to spawn mobs that can stun you out of nowhere, and they just fly at you like the Simulacrum dudes did before, then you're gonna want ailment threshold and
Okay,
stun. Like,
you
you don't
may
want to
even
get
find
frozen,
safe-
right? You get frozen, you're dead. You get stunned, you're dead.
wisps that can do
I
some
think it's gonna
pretty
be more
crazy
important.
things to the monsters they influence. Like the Wisp of the Cunning Fox, which turns normal monsters into magics, magic
Normal
monsters into rares,
Magic in the room.
and rare monsters into actual bosses.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I want more bosses.
As Mary and
more boss
Wisps can
fights.
drop
I hope that they're difficult enough to matter. If it's just like an elite with more health, then cool. I get an extra elite to kill. Talismans. Hits against you have 10% reduced critical damage bonus. Okay, but that does nothing if they're not critting me. Gain 1 rage on melee hit. I know there's builds that use melee. That's kind of cool. Corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you. It's cool like early league, but then later league, you can buy jewels that when you corrupt them that say corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you. So why am I using a talisman on it?
Drop a new set of socketable items.
Especially if
allow
it's
you to
using a
craft
rune
wide
socket
range
for
of
it.
interesting
I'm sure
new
to grab
mods
it on a
onto your
jewel.
items. Each one may only be used on a specific item slot. As mentioned, the Asmerian Wisps can be encountered throughout the game, but there's also a new in-game map called the Asmeri Ranges, a mountain village where the Asmeri once lived, now overrun with corrupt monsters.
So the Asmeri are just
This
a bunch
map
of wisps?
always has multiple
Is that what we're
Asmerian
getting
Wisps
at?
in it, and familiar, yet not quite the same boss fight. Asmerian Wisps can also be further modified by the endgame
Okay, hold on. What?
Atlas
100%
trees.
chance to what? 50% increased area of effect. This can be good, right? There's a one that turns monsters from normal to magic, magic to whatever. Okay, so the bigger the radius, the more monsters it'll affect. If we can turn more magic monsters. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a big one, big brain. So we normally don't like to have increased magic monsters on a map, right? You get on your waystone, it says like, 50% more magic monsters on your map, and you're like, ugh, they're not rare monsters. Grab it, chuck it in the wind. But hold on. If you can get this wisp that turns your magic monsters into rare monsters, now there's a reason to get magic monsters on your map. So now you might actually get into a situation where you're looking for Asperi spirit maps that have increased magic monsters on the map to then turn them into more rare monsters. Assuming that the whole looking for rare monsters things with magic finds still stays on here.
as well, and by tablets.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be
That
the one
might
talking
be
about those things.
that might be a meta to
In order
explore.
to cover all the new content in in-game, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
All right, Mark.
Different encounters you will randomly stumble into as you explore the endgame.
Show me what
And
you
the
got.
second goal is to smoothen the progression through maps and reduce the amount of annoying busy work.
Okay, that's good.
To start with, let's talk about the new interesting stuff to find.
Let's.
Well, the most obvious thing to add are new maps.
Okay,
As
we're
well as
getting
the
new
Asmeri
maps.
Ranges that Jonathan mentioned earlier, Dawn of the Hunt also contains 7 other new maps, all with their own custom encounters.
Okay, so we're getting 7
Let's
new
start
maps.
with this one.
The Feral Megaliths map starts off in the wild Ezomite forests. As you progress through the forest, you will find mysterious rune-carved stones that, when touched, surge with energy.
Okay.
After activating all the stones, you can find a grand henge, where all the energy is coalescing. You can then start an encounter. The area darkens.
This reminds me of what is that builder game that came out? Oh my god, it escapes me. It was on Steam. It came out a few years ago. It's like Viking themed, and it's like a Minecraft but for Vikings. I forgot what it's called. This reminds me of that.
A storm moves in, and a concentration of energy summons a dangerous boss.
Okay.
You must fight and defeat the boss to get its rewards. Once you have defeated it, summon another,
Okay.
and another,
More bosses to
and
kill.
another, and another. You have
they're
10 total
randomized
waves
bosses,
of boss fights
though.
which get incrementally more difficult. If you manage
And
to
multiple
defeat
bosses at the same time.
them, you get full boss rewards, but also opportunities to get new runes. These
Okay, so you're just room farming. I say it like it doesn't matter, but okay, we have, let's see, 8% increased skill speed. That's pretty good. I don't really care about the armor one. Lightning exposure, meh. We already have plenty of ways to inflict exposures. We don't want it on a weapon when we can increase elemental damage or increase fizz damage. I don't think this one will get play. This one might get play for sure, I think. For sure, I think. Greater Rune of Tithing. Meta skills getting 10%. Okay, hold on. But it's martial only, though. You can't use it on a wand or a scepter. Nah, I don't know. Because you can already get increased energy on jewels, man. I don't know that you're going to be using up slots on a weapon. Maybe. I
This
don't
can
know.
only
And the other one here, Greater Rune of Leadership. Minions gain 10% of their physical damage as extra lightning damage. Whoa. Maybe? Because isn't there that unique mace that makes it... Yeah, the +3 to all minions. If you can add multiple sockets into there and then throw these bad boys in there, yeah, this will see play.
be obtained from
it'll
this
see
map.
play.
The
The Rune of
Fractured
Leadership
Lake
seems good.
contains a surreal waterscape with fractured mirror-like objects. As you move around the map, the terrain itself
That's an
elevates
interesting
from
map
below,
concept.
creating the ground you walk on. In this unique map, all the rare monsters are mirrored, so you're always fighting two of the same rare at the same time, which can prove quite difficult.
Whoa, two of the same mob at the same time. Is it? Can I modify this map? Because can I add more rare monsters to it? So I'm just like doubling the amount of rare monsters
If you manage
I get.
to overcome that challenge and make it to the end of the map, you'll be presented with a broken mirror, a powerful altar-like object.
-1 prefix modifier allowed, +1 to the suffix modifier allowed. Ooh, dude, you know how many builds there are? You were like, dude, I don't want more prefixes. All I want is mana and percent mana, and then I just want a bunch of damaging stats at the bottom, or I want life at the top and nothing else because I'm a life build. I don't use energy shield or evasion. Maybe you want armor, but armor sucks, so maybe you don't even want that. So all you want are suffixes. This might be good. Actually, in my head, the way I'm thinking of it is it's really good. You obviously would want +2 suffixes, -2 prefixes on a lot
that
of
contains
builds.
an item within it. The item contained within is a new base type, either an amulet or a ring.
Yes,
That can be crafted to have additional
The +2
prefixes
suffix
or
modifiers is what I'm
suffixes at the
thinking.
cost of the other. The last unique map we'll show today is one based around the essence mechanic. You enter a crystalline cavern, and you will find a powerful map boss imprisoned
Okay, so essence are getting buffed.
in the center. It is surrounded by many rare monsters, also imprisoned in essences. By freeing and defeating the rare monsters, the essence they held will be upgraded to a greater essence and be added to the imprisoned map boss.
Okay.
How brave are you? How many essences will you add to the boss?
Oh, we're sending
Overdo it, and you might lose everything. Underdo it, and you might regret it. It's your choice.
You got one tap.
Speaking of essences,
Okay, so you run the map. You do the essences mechanic that you're already familiar with. After you do it, you upgrade the essence in there, and you kill the boss, and you get whatever essence is out of it. Okay.
alongside
cool.
visual improvements, you're now able to apply Varlorbs to corrupt the
Whoa!
essences.
Look at his flasks. Why are they blue and red? Are those new flasks?
With a range of unpredictable outcomes. It could
Oh, you
increase
can
the number
corrupt
of
essences now.
re-roll all the essences to the same type, or even upgrade the essences to greater essences.
Can you corrupt them?
What if they're already greater essences?
Right.
Well, it
Okay.
can upgrade those too.
Essence
We
of
have
insanity.
4 new corrupted essences.
Okay.
Essence of Hysteria, Delirium, Horror, and Insanity.
Each corrupted essence has its own interesting combat mechanics.
Show
For
them.
example, the essence of insanity causes you to question even your own mind, as monsters split into shadowy clones, and you must locate the real one before a devastating icy explosion freezes everything around.
Does it though? Because I mean, if you have the freeze charm, does it freeze you?
Each of these has their own
Okay, let's see this. On corruption, item gains 2
crafting
enchantments.
outcomes. The essence of insanity can be applied to a
everyone's
belt.
gonna be using this
It
on
adds
their
a mod that will
ingenuity
ensure the
belt
next
for
Varlord
sure.
used on the belt will guarantee adding 2
This is gonna
enchantments.
skyrocket in value. Buy them early. I'm calling it right now.
It's worth noting all the essences in the unique map can also be corrupted too, if you're willing to risk it. It's worth noting
you're
we have
risking it
also
for the
added
biscuit all the
10
time.
extra Atlas passive points you can earn by completing 5 different unique maps.
Oh, you know what
Now-
sucks is you have to risk the greater ones in order to get the higher tiered ones, which kind of sucks.
new maps are just the beginning.
But I guess
We
you're
had a
doing it
goal
anyways.
where we wanted to make sure you were constantly finding exciting new content, and that it could be lurking around any corner. So, malicious, some are mad, while others are simply fiends for loot.
Or these are
Malicious
rogue
to
exiles.
rogue exiles.
Yeah.
Utter rogue exile.
I
To
like
rogue
the-
exile.
The way that they've designed these, they look cool. Yeah.
Others like you who have been exiled and are openly hostile. Some are malicious, some are mad.
Dude, he's
while
fighting
others are
this
simply
mob for like
fiends
4
loot.
years in a day, bro.
They will challenge you, a fight to the death.
He's also missing
They
like
use the
every
same
other
skills
arrow.
available to players, and even the same items. They aren't just dressed up in those items. They're
Dude, you're standing in
actually
the
using
hammer. Like,
It's going to
this guy-
feel like a
whoever's
true player
piloting
versus
this guy
player
is terrible.
situation. Of course, if you are able to slay these exiles, those items will all drop on the ground.
Okay, so hold on. Look at the top here. It says, has Demon Stitcher equipped, has the Bushwhack equipped. Oh, the boots. Okay, so if you kill them, they're going to drop their loot, and you're going to be able to pick it up.
So if you encounter an exile using a powerful or valuable unique item, which you can see displayed under their life bar, you want to be damn sure you kill them.
Yep.
Because if they kill you and your party, they'll portal out, taking their items with them. Every fight will
Okay.
feel completely different depending on the items they come equipped with. These exiles are much smarter than your regular monster. They have capabilities to dodge roll, avoid
So
your
there's a lot
abilities with
more
smart
random
pathfinding,
events
smart
happening on the map,
targeting,
which are
and
good.
much more action-packed gameplay.
It'll
Fortunately,
be
they're like-
frustrating early game for sure, depending on their scaling. Do they scale with the tier of the map? Can you imagine getting these really beefy exiles in your map and they're killing you constantly? That'd be really annoying. Can you just run away from them? Like if you can't handle it, you can just run? Because I imagine when you're just starting out, you care more about experience because the items you're going to be getting, they're not going to be like the highest of quality, the highest of tier. I imagine you'd probably want to be, well, actually, maybe, well, because even early games, some of these uniques are probably really valuable. You still want to try and kill them. Are there tiers of the uniques? Like if there's a dude that I kill that has a really good unique, is it the same on like a tier 15 unique? That'd be no way, right? Like, can I get like the best unique in the game on a tier 1 map as well as a tier 15 map?
like you, and they're not super durable. Unless, of course, they're wearing uniques like Helm's Heart, in which case, expect a longer battle. There are 12 different rogue exiles you can find, each with their own skills and personalities. Some may insult you, while others may admire your honor in combat.
Are the unique items they're using, do they vary? Are they random? Or are they, each exile has certain uniques that they always have?
Another encounter you might stumble onto in Dawn of the Hunt are one of 4 new unique strongboxes.
Strongboxes are chests with modifiers. When you try to open them, they activate traps and spawn waves of monsters that you must defeat to access the loot. Let's take a look at 2 of the new unique boxes that are harder to find and behave just a little bit differently.
How?
The Ogham's Legacy Strongbox has a corpse splayed out in front of the rune-carved stone. Upon interacting with the stone, you activate Forbidden Ezomite magic, which revives the monster as a powerful rare. The Strongbox comes with a modifier, which determines how many times it will revive that rare. Each time you defeat the monstrosity, the Strongbox revives it again, adding an extra modifier to the monster. With each resurrection, it becomes more difficult, but also more rewarding. This Strongbox is infused with thaumaturgy from ancient Vaal technology.
Okay.
Eshell's Torment has a powerful artifact inside, and is guarded by chaos itself. Defeating the monsters will grant you a unique item, with a specific corrupted outcome. You'll have to find the other 2 for yourself to see what they do.
Okay. I don't know how excited I am to get more boxes in my map. I need to get rewarded for my efforts. I feel like currently I open a box and 900 times out of 900 I get nothing. It's a complete waste of my time.
Now, let's talk about the introduction to the endgame. Upon starting the endgame, Doriani tasks you with cleansing corruption to help restore the land. However, in practice, the quest objective just sent you on a grind to clear 15 maps.
Yeah, I was about to
We
say
wanted
that.
to make
Like,
the quest to unlock your Atlas passives much more interesting.
Now, Doriani is tasking you with a more specific objective.
Which
On
is...
the Atlas, you will find areas of corruption caused by the beast. In the center of each one, you will find a corrupted nexus, the source.
Wait, at no point during this whole Dawn of the Hunt have they said anything about the other 3 acts. So we're getting endgame content here without finishing the 3 other acts.
Of the affliction. In the areas leading up to the nexus, you will notice that corruption spills out from slain enemies and amalgamates into powerful monsters.
Okay.
Corrupted
more
maps
monsters, more
existed on the
variants.
Atlas before, but we've done significant work on improving these monsters. We've also done a full pass on the modifiers on these maps to make them more interesting and more rewarding. Once you reach the nexus, you will have a new task. Cleanse the
We're
source of
using the
corruption.
row. 100%. We're using the row, right? We're gonna make a build that clears the entire map in one button click, and we're just gonna be zooming. We're using the row.
When you defeat the last rare in those maps, they will spawn one of 3 terrifying bosses. Amalgamations of corruption itself. After defeating that boss, Doriani will come and cleanse the corruption for good.
Okay.
As the remains of the boss are purged of corruption, it coalesces into raw crystallized power, which you can use to gain points for your Atlas passive skill tree.
Okay.
The upgrade system that allows you to add and enhance content in your maps. We didn't stop there though. When you complete a corrupted nexus, all of the remaining surrounding corrupted maps will become cleansed maps. Cleansed maps also have new monsters,
Okay,
A
so
new
a lot of new
boss.
monsters. New bosses. Awesome.
and their own set of modifiers and rewards.
Own set of modifiers. Area contains 8 additional packs of cleansed monsters. Okay. Okay.
Including finding fracturing orbs by slaying cleansed enemies.
Fracturing orb. What are those?
These orbs can be used in
Hold on. Fracture a random modifier on a rare item with at least 4 modifiers, locking it in place. So I have an item that has 4 modifiers. I can lock one of the modifiers.
crafting on a rare item to cause one of its modifiers to become fractured.
Okay. Wait, but it's random. I can't choose which modifier gets locked.
A fractured modifier is one that cannot be modified by any means. You are able to freely
It's still
modify
more
the item,
gambling.
ensuring the fractured
I
modifier
don't
will
wanna hear
never
it.
change. If you get the right item with the right
Oh, but you know what though? Yes, no, just more gambling. So if you get an item that has one modifier that's like super high tier or the best tier, you're gonna want to take your 1 in 4 chance, gamble it to lock it, so that you can then craft on it. So I think trying to find crafting bases is going to become more an activity that more people do more frequently, I think.
mod, it can prove to be a very powerful crafting base indeed.
Yeah.
You must
for
now
crafting.
choose.
So for everyone out there, when you're playing the game, you should be looking out for items that have one really good prefix, and you should be holding a bunch of those items to try and lock in that one good modifier. Because everyone's going to be crafting or trying
Do
to
you
craft them.
complete all the
I would
corrupted
imagine.
maps and then the Nexus? Or maybe you beeline to the Nexus, complete it, and do all the remaining maps cleansed. Both have rewards to entice you and challenges to assess. Now, let's have a
I'm going to do whichever one gives me the most valuable loot, right?
talk about towers. One thing we've had a lot of feedback on is the busy work around running towers and managing your tablets.
Yeah.
The first change
I
we've
actually
made
don't
here is
mind
that
it,
we have
oh.
reduced the number of towers drastically. So there are now 1/3 as many as before, but we've made them much more powerful.
Less towers, but they're more powerful.
To start with, tablets now inherently add twice as many mechanics. But that's not all. Running higher tier maps and towers now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets.
The number of mechanics applied by tablets. Okay.
By tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many mechanics as before. So, we're running far
You mean 4 additional tablets?
fewer towers, dealing with fewer tablets, and affecting
28 maps in range contain breaches. Wait a minute. What? And you can fit multiple tablets in? Okay.
even more maps than before. But because there are fewer towers overlapping with each other, you won't get as many opportunities to stack different tablets. In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once.
Okay.
You always get 1 slot on completing the tower, but if you can complete a tower with more mods on the waystone, you can unlock a second or
More mods on the waystone. So no more grabbing like just whatever waystone you want, throw it in the tower like a throwaway one just to get it over with. Now you're going to be incentivized to make sure it has 6 mod slots on it to unlock the other tablet
or
slots.
third slot. Overall, this allows for even more juicing from towers, while drastically reducing the amount of busy work you have to do.
Okay.
On top of that, towers are much more interesting maps because they
down
can
with that.
now spawn with all mechanics, including bosses.
Each tower map has a new boss. Let's take a look at a couple here.
The boss fight of the Alpine Ridge map has 2 powerful witches contesting for territory.
That's kind of cool.
One witch has an affinity for ice, the other fire.
Okay.
Who will win?
Wait, are they fighting each other or are they both fighting
Hopefully
you?
neither.
They're both fighting you.
The boss of the
That would have been cool if they were fighting each other and you're just caught in the crossfire and killing one first like empowers the other one, or I don't know.
Sinking Spire map is a remnant of the Val that has been charged with lightning. It uses a full suite of lightning abilities. But be careful. If any of them
I
hit the
hated
surrounding
fighting-
constructs, they will power up.
Another thing that we've seen a lot of feedback
I hated
about is
fighting that boss during the campaign.
sustaining waystones. As we looked into it, we realized that the people who couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot.
The people that couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot. That's funny. You think
A lot more than we had expected. And that made us realize something.
that people suck playing the game?
During the campaign, the expectation is that you can die multiple times in order to learn how to overcome challenges.
Okay, yeah, that for sure happened. I remember when I first started playing it, I opened a map and I died at some point, and then I was like, "Yo, I think there's a bug. All my portals went away. I can't go back in my map." And I would whisper to my friends, "Hey, did your map disappear?" "No, I finished it." "Dude, my portal disappeared. Like, I don't get it."
You were able to
So-
learn how the monsters behave, adapt to their skills, and eventually
I get that
overcome them. But as soon as you get to the endgame, you're effectively no longer allowed to die if you want to sustain waystones.
Right?
By the time you are getting towards the end of endgame, we want you to have to be careful not to die. But it certainly shouldn't be that we have such a sudden shift as you run your first maps.
You could just make it so that like maps 1 through 5 or 1 through 10 or whatever don't close out the portals, right?
The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you die,
Oh, okay. Just
continuing from
have
where
your
you left
portals
off. When you start the endgame, you get up to 6 total attempts per map.
okay.
As you add more modifiers to a waystone, the number of respawns goes down.
Oh, really? Okay, hold on. So when you're hold on. I'm starting to see a new meta. Okay, so when you're doing towers, the tower has to have 6 mods to unlock all of your tablet slots. But it didn't say anything about regular nodes on the map. So for regular nodes on the map, you're going to want to use omens that give you 3 prefixes. This makes it so that you can keep more number of portal chances up higher. Right?
This means that as you get to the point that you're running every waystone as a rare, you will have to be more careful.
Okay, but
In
if you're just
parties,
magic finding,
everyone
you
gets to
care?
respawn that number of times. But we still think it's important that you can kill a boss in one go.
Wait. Each player gets that number of respawns? Hold on, let me go back. Hold on. Yeah, it has little numbers by them. I think those are the amount of times you can respawn.
But we still think it's important that you can kill a boss in one go. In order to allow that to happen, we've made a change so that once you start the boss fight, it changes over to the same respawning system we use for pinnacle bosses.
So if you die,
This
you lose
means
it.
that the map owner can choose to respawn everyone at the same time. Another
Wait, you
complaint
don't
we've
lose
seen a
it?
lot
You just
of is
respawn?
players
Wait. What?
In order to allow that to happen, we've made a change so that once you start the boss fight, it changes over to the same respawning system we use for pinnacle bosses. This means that the map owner can choose to respawn everyone at the same time.
So everyone has got 6 respawns?
Another complaint we've seen a lot of is players not wanting to do the pinnacle content because of the experience penalty from dying. A change we've made here is
Yeah.
that all pinnacle content now no longer grants experience, but also no longer removes experience on death either.
You know, even worse than that, people are more afraid of doing the pinnacle content because of the loss of currency or the potential loss of currency. If I have a like if I'm doing this, the arbiter, right, and those little tablets, you got to collect 3 of them. If each tablet is, you know, on average 350 exalt, so I need to put in 1,000 plus exalt just to open a map. If I'm not guaranteed to, if I don't have a build that's like 100% going to rip through the boss, then I don't know if I want to open it. Because what if I die? Then I lose all that currency? And so I think players are more worried about that. Because if you can do the boss, you're not worried about dying for XP. That's not why you're avoiding doing these bosses. I think you're trying to avoid them because you don't want to lose currency.
Dawn of the Hunt also brings the first
cool
batch
change,
of
I'll take
Twilight
it.
Order reliquary keys from the early access supporter packs.
Supporter packs.
These keys contain items selected by our supporters. They can contain any unique item found in Path of Exile 2. If the selected item is a pinnacle boss drop, then only special keys drop also no longer removes experience on
Go
death
back for a
either.
second. Hold on.
Dawn of the Hunt also brings the first batch of Twilight Order reliquary keys
Reliquary keys. What are those? What are we talking about now?
from the early access supporter packs. These keys contain items selected by our supporters. They can contain any unique item found in Path of Exile 2.
At random?
If
or
the
what?
selected item is a pinnacle boss drop, then only special keys dropped by this content will be able to provide these items. For example, Hand of Wisdom in action can only come from a key dropped by Zesht.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
We're also making a change that allows pinnacle boss uniques to drop at any difficulty.
Pinnacle boss uniques can drop at any difficulty. So then what's the point of running higher difficulty pinnacle bosses? You lost me on that one.
Rarer uniques will be rarer at lower difficulties, but still possible to find.
Oh, okay.
This applies to the drop chances for the reliquary keys from this content as well. We spoke about towers and tablets earlier, but we have also added a suite of unique tablets. Each
Okay.
of these adds crazy interactions to the maps influenced by it. For example, this unique tablet allows you to run any map in a tower's radius without requiring connections, which can be quite useful for jumping gaps and traveling around your atlas.
I mean, I'll just work my way around.
And this
I'm not gonna
tablet
waste
causes
a tablet
all
slot
runic
for that.
monsters
I mean,
spawn
maybe I
during
would.
expedition encounters to be duplicated, and weakens all expedition monsters that emerge from the ground.
That's kind of
The
cool.
Atlas tree has
Because
all
if you're trying to hunt for more books, having more monsters duplicated will give you more chances, right? Assuming that you get one of those little buffs that give you increased chance to find runic logbooks.
also been expanded, and you can find many of the new mechanics there, and improvements to existing ones too.
Okay. So there's
Now,
going to
through
be more variance in the ways that players can look for loot now.
This live stream, we have mentioned quite a few new crafting options that we've added. New runes, corrupted essences, fractured mods, and jewelry crafting bases. But we did have just one more crafting system to talk about. Recombination.
Expedition was the only in-game mechanic that was lacking a crafting system, so that needed to change. Recombination is a mechanic that might be familiar to some players.
So we're looking at the forklorn crossbow and the varnished crossbow. So it's not like the other runic tablet table we have right now, where you put 3 of the same item.
It allows you to merge 2 items together, hoping to get the best elements of each on a single new item.
Okay, hold on. How many modifiers can you get? Can you get all 6? Are you trying to then look for bases that have 3 ideal? Like 3 on the left, 3 on the right, and then try to merge them into 6?
This new crafting bench will be unlocked as you complete your first expedition, and requires artifacts found during expeditions to fuel it. The rarer
Okay.
the mods on the item you are combining, the more expensive the cost.
That
Okay.
wraps up all the major in-game
I've
changes
got
we're
questions.
talking about
Well, you
today.
can't just bypass it like
With
that.
all the system changes and new content, we can't wait to get in there, start blasting.
Yeah, because it seems like bases are going to be more important on this next league here because of the new crafting stuff and the combined stuff. If you can get items that have good bases on them, or I'm sorry, good modifiers on them, when you combine them, you'll have a chance for a better item, right? So now, are you looking for bases with at least 3 good mods on it?
Maps.
And then how many mods can you get? Can you get all 6? Like I said, if you get 3 on the left, 3 on the right, can you get 6?
And obliterating
Like
monsters.
you get a base that has 3 prefixes, another base has 3 suffixes. As an example, they're not gonna drop that way, but theoretically, if they did, could they just only grab the 3 prefixes because there's no other ones on there? Like as opposed to if you had 2 items that both had 3 prefixes, the other item has also 3 prefixes. 3 prefixes. So obviously, when they combine, they can't take 6 prefixes, right? So would you want to find an item with like 1 prefix, 2 suffix, and then the other item have 2 prefix, 1 suffix? So the odds, like when they combine, it's trying to make all 6 mods? Like how does it work?
There is one more thing we wanted to clarify before we move on, which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access leagues, so you can play your existing characters. However,
Ooh, what's the incentive then starting a new league just to try hard? Because if I can do all the stuff on where I already have all my money at, why wouldn't I just do that?
there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy.
I mean, we're going to, right? Because the current league's inflation is out of control.
It is recommended to start over and get the full new experience in the Dawn of the Hunt leagues.
Yeah, we're definitely making a league character for
For
sure.
all our existing early access players, we're really looking forward to joining you playing in this new update. For those who don't already
Go
have
back.
access,
Let me look at these packs right here. Because I would argue that one of the points of playing this game is to look as awesome as you can,
for
right?
all our existing early access players, we're really looking forward to
I'm
joining you
buying
playing in
that.
this new update.
For
those-
the floating mechanic or the floating aesthetic of this one looks cool, but I don't know if I really want.
Those who
like that
don't
one.
already have access and are interested in playing Path
Meh.
of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, you are able to
What
at
are
any
you, the
time
Hulk?
purchase an
What
early
is
access
this?
supporter pack at
I think a Power Ranger, I
www.pathofexile2.com.
don't know about that. Okay.
Additionally, the Paladin and Penance supporter
Wait a
packs are
minute.
now available to
These kinda
purchase
look cool.
in Path of Exile 2 and contain
no,
6
you're taking my
microtransactions
money.
each and the full pack's face value in points. All the
Wait, can I be this guy?
microtransactions contained within these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. Thank you
mean-
so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D.
All right, so we have all this information down. You know what I wonder? Does someone want to see all my notes? like if we made a video where we break down everything that was talked about in a little sheet, where other people can be like, "Yo, what was that 40-minute long video about?" And I can give it to you in like 5 minutes. Would you want it? Or would you rather watch the whole video? I don't know. Well, if you're watching this video, you can let me know. Would you rather have these big, giant, long sessions where we're kind of giving our thoughts as we're watching them, and then we can have a discussion in the comments section? Or would you rather me just write down what the whole video was about and then just tell you like the synopsis? These are like the bullet points you need to know about. with no commentary, just giving you the facts, and you can kind of make up your own opinions of what's going to happen in the new leagues. All right. Well, I think that's it for me for now, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this. If you do want me to make those videos where I kind of go over everything that's happened, let me know in the comment section. I might make some of those. We'll see. We'll see how they work out. If the people demand it, we'll make it. But that's all the information I got for you guys. Those are all my thoughts. Hopefully it was interesting. Let me know what you thought, and